Minecraft has many different groups inside of its lore. From the witches to the villagers to the enderlings, each group certainly looks unique. But a little known fact is that many of them also have their own languages and might not even be able to talk outside of their secluded clans. The Illagers have their banners and piglins their music, but I think one important thing that almost all of these groups have differently from one another is something too few people discuss. So, my name is Illager, welcome to my channel, and please sit back and relax because today we'll be talking about the languages spoken, written, and left unused within the Minecraft canon. Let's begin. As I mentioned, we know that most groups have a sort of culture. The Minecraft books sometimes give us looks into these habits. For instance, the Dungeon's Handbook for Heroes tells us that the Illagers are a society in which the strong rule over the weak. The rise of the Arch-Illager doubly confirms this. But sometimes these groups seem isolated, like they evolved totally separate like from any other groups. And the languages, interestingly, fix this. Obviously, in real life, people are inspired by others and groups take from each other all the time. Language evolution is one of the best examples of this in general anthropology, and you can see how English came from West German and how it and said Early German borrowed from one another before drifting apart. Latin is probably the best case for me to present. See how similar some of the Romance languages are, but how they drifted apart from Vulgar Latin into the still noticeably different tongues we have today? We get a feel for whence mob families came by comparing their in-game languages, and this helps us to figure out the lore of perhaps why certain structures from different groups look similar-like. They came from a common ancestor. I discussed this a lot with my Illagers and Villagers in the Ocean Ruins video. Let's look at the standard galactic alphabet. The letter A here looks remarkably akin to the one from IllagerŠʟᴛ, meanwhile the B's and Z's also look the same. Even so though, the Y's look incredibly different, and R's too. These are different systems of writing, and possibly different languages, though we can't be sure, since as far as we're aware, no one actually uses standard galactic anymore. There are two groups that use hieroglyphs. The cultist villager group from the Ocean Ruins and Monuments have plenty of walls with chiseled comic books on them, and the piglins have their snouts, plus the cave art which is mentioned in Return of the Piglins. But that book isn't totally canon, so I shouldn't really mention it, however neat it is. They are shown on the end papers of the book and mentioned in chapter 11, and don't say much more than a recap of the Porker's previous invasion. The Undersea cultists do have a ruined nether portal in their monument though, and they, alongside piglins being the only users of hieroglyphs in this universe, while also having one of the few portals in dungeons, is intriguing. Could it be another connection? Probably not, but you can decide for yourselves. The other languages we see are a bit weirder. For instance, we see somewhat similar pictograms in the end, but I'd call these much closer to just plain signs rather than full-on scripts. Come to worrying, I hope no future archaeologists who not see the walking man street signs and think that we use these guys full-on hieroglyphic scripts. That would be weird. The Enderlings do have a language though, for speaking, even if they don't seem to have any written language. Enderlings speak distorted English phrases, which are normally backwards, but sometimes just wobbly through a distorter filter. Although Enderlings, by whom I mean largely just Endermen, can speak English, I don't think I would say that the players, those are the heroes or ancient builders, can speak English canonically. It feels a lot more as though English was taken due to being the modern lingua franca, not because Carl or the others are supposed to actually speak it. The Russian version of the book probably has the Illagers speaking Russian, but that obviously doesn't mean they do it in the canon. Anyway, if the Illagers did speak English, so do the heroes during the intermittent prologues and whatever else, and the heroes and Illagers are made to else not be able to understand each other when together. Clearly it is an accessibility choice, and we follow, in whatever our copy of the book's language is, the current main character for mere convenience. If we want a semi-lore adjacent way of making this acceptable, we can go with the Tolkien route, where he claimed to have been given his books in their original languages and then needed to act as a sort of translator to make English copies for the common reader who didn't necessarily want to learn Elvish or one of his many other conlangs. The issue with assuming that heroes, Illagers, piglins, or any other group speak English is that English needs French and German to exist, and that implies that the French had to have come from Latin, where suddenly the Roman Empire needs to have been canon just to excuse how English came to conquer so much of the land, and if Rome existed, so do all of her children, right? Spain, Portugal, and the rest. It's far too complicated. As far as I've ever been concerned, the heroes just speak plain heroic. I know sometimes people think that they speak Standard Galactic, or at least they thought such back in the wacky era of 2017 theorizing, but that would be a little weird since we can't read Enchantment Table unless you've learned it outside of the game in meta, which I don't think counts. The language which is by far my personal favourite has to be Illager솜ʟᴛ. It's the language used in Minecraft dungeons and is found all over the place. The runes needed to unlock the bovine path are in it, and the chiseled words on the obsidian in the overgrown temple are as well. That name is, however, a bit deceiving. There's no real evidence that it's actually used by Illagers, and plenty of things that are almost certainly not made by them use the alphabet, including magical items, which I previously thought only really used Standard Galactic. The villagers are also thought to speak this language too by most people, but while the book tells us that they speak the same language, there's no proof that they don't read different scripts, although that's unlikely that it's the case. Interestingly, and here's a good segue into it, there is a very weird language shown only in Minecraft Legends' announcement trailer. It's shown to be the language in which the storybook of Legends' gameplay takes place, which almost gives it precedence being outside of the non-canon fairy tale of the rest of the game. Could this be the Villager language? I'd be very wary of using trailer footage for backing in any theories though. This is its only appearance, and I've actually wanted to talk about it for a long while. The phrases are indecipherable and just the same few words repeating. I did find one post on r/Minecraft Legends where a user shares what I assume is a ripped file with 45 symbols in it though. This leaves room for the 26 letters and 10 digits of the English alphabet, plus extra for what I assume might be digraphs made into singular graphemes or maybe ligatures. Assuming it's possibly meant to reflect the Swedish alphabet, we get up to 29. But that still isn't the 45 we have here, even with the numerals. I've genuinely been looking since the game came out and haven't seen anyone talking about it except once in the Minecraft Discord server to say that they couldn't break it, and that one time on Reddit. Since there's no official name for this language, I'd like to officially name it Idyllic Galactic, to fit the theme of the other languages. Again, there's literally no proof that this language is canon outside of this solo appearance in the trailer. I wanted to mention it here because it's got a very cool out-of-canon story, still being unsolved and all, but I shall probably leave it henceforth out from my theorizing. Although there's no proof for this either, the common headcanon is that Illager솜ʟᴛ plus Idyllic Galactic came from Standard Galactic. It could be the other way around, but there's not much proof either way. Assuming that the name Standard Galactic is canon, it would be implied as the older language, whence Neo-Galactic gets its name too, but I've only seen a few Reddit posts call it that. I love the name because it fits the galactic theme, but Star Wars is probably what you'll find first if you search for Neo-Galactic on Google. Still, all in all, I'm very fond of the many languages Minecraft and its spin-offs have to offer me. As an amateur linguist, I'm always fascinated by the similarities of Standard Galactic and Illager솜ʟᴛ, plus the fact that Mojang put in the effort of giving other groups less standardized symbols for writing, such as those hieroglyphs. Thanks for watching. Please, if you liked this video, hype or any of the other stuff. If anyone can procure answers regarding Idyllic Galactic, I'd be immensely amazed and elsewise happy. And if anyone has stuff to add, please do. Some of this has just been headcanoning, as you know. Always remember to push out your thoughts, share your ideas, and no matter what, keep on loring. I'll see you next time. Bye.